I think they really need to look at their own personal financial situation and see what they can do to improve that. What can you work harder and make more money at your job, right? Can you save more? Can you budget better? That's what you need to focus on. Don't blame the housing market. Don't blame the Fed. Don't blame interest rates. See what you can do to set yourself up better. And then let's go look for a home if that's something that you want to do.
Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to Upticks with Jake and Cory. Cory, welcome back to the show.
Jake, thank you for having me back. Happy to be here.
Cory, today's show is brought to you by Shure Microphones.
Ooh, how about that, right?
Elevate your
Right
podcast to the next level with a Shure microphone and no compliance. They're not paying me to do that. They're not paying me to say that. But Cory, we are official. We've got podcast mics now because we are fast approaching 2,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
That's right.
So we figured we needed to up our game a little bit so that our audio quality was on point. So hopefully this is the best sounding episode of Upticks ever. And hopefully it's the best content. But before we go into our content, Cory, you got anything new or different or fun you want to share with our audience?
I have something fun going on actually today, Jake. I am going back to my alma mater, UCM, with my wife, my daughter, my sister-in-law, and my niece, who's getting ready to graduate high school, who is going on college tour. So I'm actually really excited to go back and sort of get the experience that someone who is just going off to college gets. I'm just curious to see what it really looks like, because I've stayed very involved at the university and serve on the Alumni Foundation board now. So of course, always enjoy getting back, but looking forward to really trying to guide some of the family in the same direction.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I was giving you a hard time this morning. I know. I was like, why, but I just joke with your school. It's a great little town. I was just there, as you know, homecoming weekend to play golf.
That's
so
right.
yeah, I hope she likes it. It's huge alumni association, as you know, very
Yes.
old traditional school, and a cool college town. So I don't know what else you'd want if you're going to stay in the state of Missouri. Doesn't seem like that bad of an option. So yeah, let us know how it goes.
That's the pitch right there, Jake. I'm just going to have to show her Upticks. I like it.
Tell her to watch them up to. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, I also, I went to UTSA, UT San Antonio, very big school, actually, much bigger than UCM, but I was able to have a direct impact on that university. Like, I was in student government. I was president of all the fraternities. I was in a fraternity. I was in registered student organization council. I was very involved on campus, which I don't think that would have been as easy at some of these other more well-known universities, because the problem, and you and I agree with this, I don't like bureaucracy. I don't like politics. I don't like that somebody's mommy or daddy gave millions of dollars to the school so Johnny can go be a leader on campus. I think that's stupid. So
That's right.
So I didn't have any of that at my school, and I bet you didn't have much of that at UCM either, which is awesome.
Nope.
Credit to them.
That's right. That's exactly right. What's new with you, Jake?
Good. What's that?
What's new with you? Anything fun, interesting, different?
This is like our audience knows. This is I've shut off golf for the winter. I've shut it off for the winter. So this is work mode. So I've been working a lot, developing content, training our team. For those that are tuning in, we are in the process of hiring an executive assistant. So I'm real excited about that. But getting my book out there, Retiring Right. I've got a copy of it right over here, Cory. Retiring Right, Smart Steps for Exiting Corporate America. Super excited about this. I actually got it in our local Barnes & Noble in Kansas City on the Plaza.
I saw that.
So
very cool.
Very happy about that. So that's what's new. I started a new fiction book called James. I think you're going to read it too, aren't you?
I am, although I have not started it. But yes, I am reading it.
So what it is, it's a retelling of Huckleberry Finn, or what is it, The Great Expectations? It's the retelling of that through Jim, a character in that book. I read the first chapter. It's a very easy, fun read. I think you'll zoom right through it. So I'm excited. My wife really liked it. She claims it might win an award this year. It's that good of a book. So
I'm excited though.
yeah, so that's what's new. All right, well, let's another quick change, Corey, that I want
Mm,
to. Not only do we have these fancy microphones
that's
now,
right.
Corey, but this week we are switching things up just a little bit. And yes, we're going to keep talking about hot topics in financial services, whether that be from a planning or investment standpoint. But now, Corey, you and I have decided to be even more opinionated. So not only are we going to talk about what's going on out there in the news, but we're also going to talk our opinion. I think that's really what the audience wants to hear. So here we go, Corey. Take us away.
All right, play ball. Jake, the first article that we have, the first headline that we have here is Buy Happiness by Giving Your Money Away.
Yeah, Corey. So according to studies, it's been proven that there are positive effects of donating, like to a charity,
Mhm.
on one's mood and overall health when you do that. And so I want to go over the key benefits here, and then I want to hear your opinion. I'll give you my opinion also. So psychologically speaking, donating to others can lead to what's called a helper's high. Have you ever heard of that? Helper's high?
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think
So
this was the first time I heard of that.
it's a feeling of euphoria that boosts mood and reduces stress. And basically, this is a chemical release of endorphins, which are basically like feel good chemicals. That's number one, which is crazy. Physical health, regular acts of generosity have been linked to lower blood pressure, improved heart health, and a longer lifespan, which is awesome. The act of giving can also reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, right? I've got a take on that here in a little bit. Social connections, donating can strengthen social bonds and create a sense of community. It can also enhance one's sense of purpose and belonging. And then personal fulfillment. Many people find that personal satisfaction and fulfillment in helping others, this can lead to an increased self-esteem and a more positive outlook on life. Man, those are a lot of benefits, Corey, from giving your money away.
That's right.
So let's hear it. What's your opinion on this? Do you think giving all your money away is that big of a pro?
So my opinion here, Jake, is that, well, first off, my personal experience is aligned with the positives here. As far as any charitable giving that I myself have done, I also recognize the hierarchy of needs that's relevant for all of us here, right? I think everything that we're talking about here, as far as buying happiness, giving money away, right? The hierarchy of needs, that's towards the top. After the foundation is already set. But one thought that I had, Jake, around this was, if you're giving money away to quote buy happiness or feel better about yourself, are you doing it for yourself or are you doing it for others? Like, if I'm giving money
Both.
away, am I doing that to help the organization, or am I doing that so I get a euphoric high for the helper's high or whatever it was called?
My argument would be it's for both. And what's wrong with that? It doesn't have to be, what is
This or
that
that?
called? Duality. Yeah, there doesn't need to be A or B. It's for both. Now, there are some cons to this that I wanted to point out, that some
Yes.
people may feel pressure to donate, which actually can lead to more stress and more financial strain.
Mm,
And I have another issue. Not all donations are used effectively, right? A lot of
yeah.
these charities out there waste the money. And that's another sense of frustration. And this is a last con, and then we can keep talking about it. Is there's a risk of becoming overly reliant on that positive feeling from donating. So then, Corey, you like almost become addicted to
Addicted to
that
giving.
to helper's high. Like, so literally, it's like a drug. Like, you don't feel good about yourself unless you're giving money away. Which, you want to talk about a quick way to screw up a financial plan, is if like you're treating giving like a drug and you're
Mm,
giving more than your financial plan can support.
mm.
That's almost as bad. That is as bad as overspending on frivolous items like, I don't know, baseball cards or cars or
Every
alcohol
streaming
or
service under the sun, right?
yeah, yeah. Every what?
Every streaming service under the sun.
Yeah, every streaming service. Yeah, exactly. So I think that, me personally, you know where I like to give?
Let's hear it.
I like to give that to charities that are aligned with my clients' interests, believe it or not.
Mm,
Because I feel like maybe that's a trifecta for me. Not only does it make me feel good that I'm helping, I get a little bit of that helper's high, but I'm also, supporting my client's passion, and then I'm also donating to a charity. So those are fun, where I have some joint charitable causes with clients. I really enjoyed that.
mhm.
But I do relate, Corey, to feel pressure sometimes
Yeah.
because society says I should, or whoever, right? I don't like that. And so I get that side of the coin, but I think again, it all comes down, and a lot of what we talk about ultimately comes down to having a well thought out financial plan. So if you want to give away and you want that helper's high, let's budget that in your plan so you know you can give away 5,000 a year, 10,000 a year, 2,000 a year, whatever it is, that you know you can do that and you're not doing permanent damage to your livelihood. And like you said, the hierarchy of needs, the last thing you want to do is be able to, like, you might have to downsize your home because you gave too much money to charity. Like, and maybe that's okay if you do want to downsize, but if you don't
Right.
want to downsize, that's a problem. So good. Good. Anything else you want to add before we go on to the next one?
The last item I would add quickly here, Jake, to that though, I do appreciate the point about the financial plan and working that in because some people are more charitably inclined than others. But we also recognize, you and I recognize from a financial planning and tax planning perspective, that if charitable giving is something that's important to you and an important part of your financial plan, there can be a lot of strategies to really help optimize what you're giving to charity that can also help your tax situation. So I think being proactive and doing that planning there, we can really help clients that are more charitably inclined to optimize and maximize what they're able to give.
Yeah, that's good. Good, Corey. All right, good. Let's go to the next one here. Corey, the people to speak to before you retire and the key questions to ask them.
All right, Jake. So this article was in the Wall Street Journal. It was talking about how too often the decision to leave work is made in isolation without getting the advice of other people that you know. This really just emphasized here the importance of seeking advice from people that you trust and talking to 8 key people specifically. So I'm just going to run through these, Jake, and then I want to talk about them. So the first one is your spouse. Make sure you're on the same page with your spouse as far as your retirement plans go. Secondly is adult children. Discuss their plans, future care. Your doctor, getting insights on healthcare and retirement adjustment, your HR chief, understanding your company's retirement options, your closest siblings, they can provide personal insights, your financial advisor, obviously understanding financial feasibility, a trusted colleague, and ultimately checking in with yourself, right? Reflecting on your own readiness and what it is that you want from retirement. So I think this is helpful because the decision to retire is a big one, and how people ultimately get there can be different. But I really do think the idea of having these conversations with the people that know you best before you make a major life transition like this can be really helpful. But I do think there's upsides and downsides to all of them. So I really think the specific questions that people need to ask and think through. I made a few notes from this, Jake, that I thought were really good. Some of the specific questions around that were for your advisor, for example. What are some of the traits that you have seen successful people in retirement? What can they attribute some of that to? Right? What is
Let
it?
me give you let
Other
me give
people.
you let me give you you're getting a little preachy on me here, Corey.
All
So,
right, let's hear it. What you got. What you got?
well, here's my problem with this. Here's my problem with this is that I think, I mean, how many people did you just rattle off? You rattled off 8
Eight
people,
people.
which I think is way too many, actually. I mean,
8 people.
I think you're not gonna, like, you don't need to hide it from people, but the problem, Corey, is if you ask 8 people or talk about this, you're gonna get 8 different opinions, and in my opinion, you're actually gonna create more stress
Mm.
than comfort from it, because what if you get 4 and 4? Then what are you supposed to do, right? So, I don't think I don't think you need to speak to all 8 people before you retire. I think your immediate family, obviously, your wealth advisor, o obviously, right? Obviously, right?
Obvious.
And then maybe that's it. I think siblings, I don't know about that one, Corey. HR chief, of course the HR chief's gonna find out. Your doctor, yeah, I guess. I mean,
I think the question though, what have you noticed about patients who adjust well to retirement versus those who don't, is a great question to ask.
I don't
In my
think it
opinion,
is. I don't think it is because, it depends on how big your doctor is. Like,
that's fair.
is your doctor meeting with thousands of retirees? I mean, just like we talk about everybody's financial plan is specific to them. I think
Mhm.
everybody's health is specific to them. So I think there's good books you can. Hey, speaking of this, there's a good book you could
Maybe
read
retiring right.
about retiring, right? Good one, Corey. But yeah, that's fine. Like, I'm never gonna tell somebody not to speak with their doctor, right? Like,
Mhm.
you should always speak to your doctor, but I don't know about speaking to your doctor about a financial decision. It's more of a financial. Yes, it's emotional and physical, but I don't know. I just think your doctor should be focused on your health, regardless if you're working or not. Is my point. I get it. I understand, but I just, again, my opinion is I don't think you need to talk to everybody and their mother about your decision to retire because you're just going to drive yourself crazy. I think you should have a very close circle of people that you
Mhm.
value their opinion, and then whatever anyone else tells you is just noise.
Jake, it's funny that you said that because basically what I was going to share and really my opinion around the same thing here is to think about it exactly that way. You do want to talk to the people that have seen others do the same thing before you and other people that are ultimately where it is that you want to be, but don't ask for advice from people whose opinions you don't value or you don't want.
Right.
Right. And I think that really
Good.
kind of comes back to this. But because the underlying theme here, in my opinion, I mean, in a lot of ways, my perspective reading this article, Jake, was wow, I really need to make sure that everybody who would be in my circle needs to be aligned and on the same page before I make the decision to retire, which I don't think is the takeaway. But that's the way that this article read. And I don't know about the HR chief either, Jake. I don't know if they're going to be on the employee side or employer side.
Right. Right. You have to remember, typically the HR chief represents the company, not you.
Right.
And this is one of my favorite definitions of retirement is when you no longer have to trade your time from money that you do or that you need, basically. So my point is that should be about retirement. And there's a joke that some people are retiring in place, like they're still going to work, collecting a paycheck, but they're doing it because they enjoy going to work. Like they don't
Yes.
have to do it. So my point is, retirement is a much more personal decision than all of these people weighing in. I don't think you should talk about it with your kids, your adults.
I
Not
mean,
their
it's all
decision.
relative, right? I mean, it depends on your situation. For some people, they probably do, Jake, and for some people, they probably don't.
Yeah, like my parents talk to me about retirement because I'm their financial advisor, but
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if they would have.
Mm.
I don't think they would have sought out my opinion if I wasn't their financial advisor. I think they would have told me, Jake, this is what we're doing. So again, the advisor is a very important piece of that. And obviously, your spouse, you're not going to tell Cassie, you're not going to just come home one day and say, Cassie, I retired. You're
We
going
don't
to
know
talk.
about that. That might
You
happen. I'm just
might,
kidding.
you might,
I
but you got
doubt
to
it.
talk to her. You got to
I
talk to
doubt
her
it.
about that. So again, I think you got a close knit circle. But then other than that, you ain't gonna be, don't go. I wouldn't talk to all these people about it.
Zoom back out though here, Jake. Big takeaway, helpful takeaway, I think for people is it is useful and helpful to seek the opinions of the people who you really value what it is that they have to say before
Right,
making a major decision like this. I think that absolutely is the main takeaway from this.
right, right. All right, good. Let's go on the next one.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, Jake. So next we've got the $20,000 reason to buy a used car.
Yeah, so this article talks about the significant benefits of buying a used car versus a new one. And we both have different viewpoints on this one, so this should be a good one. Number one, though, the cost savings, right? There's a big gap between a new and used cars, and this says that it's actually widened. So used cars are even more attractive than they were. This was what the title is. That the average, it says buyers could save around 20 grand for opting for a used car versus a new one. The second thing, Cory, depreciation. New cars depreciate quickly. So you ever heard this? As soon as you drive it off the lot, it's worth less money. Have you heard that one before?
Oh yeah. Many
What a
times.
racket! What a racket! And on the other hand, the used cars have already gone through that depreciation, right? And this says that they're a better investment. I don't think a car is an investment unless it's a collector's car or something. Typically, the insurance is cheaper, right? So insurance premiums for used cars are generally less than new cars, so you could save some more money there. And then this says that interest rates, as far as financing it for used cars, are actually a little bit higher, but the overall cost of financing is lower because you're paying less for it. I don't agree with that, but whatever. That's what the article said.
Yeah, higher interest rate on a lower principal amount, I guess, basically.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So my question to you, Cory, is: have you ever bought a new car, brand new?
Have I bought a brand new car? No.
Right. I've only bought one. Yeah, my current car is brand new. Well, I bought it brand new off the lot. I think Rachel, we bought one new for her too. But I think those were both like, so these are recent things. Like
Mhm.
I don't have a history of buying new cars. And my take on it is, and I want to hear yours because I know you got a whole completely different take. I
Mhm.
don't think there's anything wrong with a used car, by the way. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It all comes down, in my opinion, to how long you're going to drive it, really. Because to me, a car is not an investment; it's an expense. Based on where I live in Kansas City, it's a necessary. I mean, I would love to take public transit and walk. I would. If I lived in New York, I wouldn't have a car. Oh, maybe I would, but I don't know why I would. I guess if I wanted to go out of town, but like, anyways, it's a necessity, right? I play a lot of golf. I need a car that can hold my golf clubs and is safe to drive to my golf courses. That's what I need.
And to
Now,
work.
and to work. Yes, that's right, Corey, and to work. So my point though is I bought a new car with the because it's so funny. I had a used SUV and I basically bought the exact same thing, but a new model of it. And so the reason I did that is because I said, the only reason I'm getting rid of this SUV is because it's getting old and I'm worried about it being reliable. So my thinking at the time was I'm going to buy a new one so it'll last me even longer because I don't want anything else. This is exactly what I want. And in fact, if my car wasn't this old, I would keep driving. And that's what's happened, Corey. My car is a 2017 and it's paid for. And here we are, 2024. I've got no car payment. I've got like 50,000 miles on it, which is
Right?
nothing. And Rachel and I made an agreement that we'll try to drive them 9 years or so because I think in Missouri there's some enhanced inspection you got to do at 10 years. And so we figured we didn't want a 10-year-old car either. Like that's when I feel like stuff might start. So the plan is to drive them 10 years or maybe 75 or 100,000 miles, whatever, as they get up there in miles. But so again, I'm not really for buying a used car unless you want a new car every 3 to 5 years or something. And then maybe that makes more sense. But what's your take on it?
My take is it's all relative, Jake, and that new or used, don't buy a vehicle that you can't afford. I think
Good
that
one.
safety and reliability are ultimately paramount for all of us when we get in a vehicle.
Yeah,
Um,
good.
but also, Jake, I have, so you asked if I bought a new car. Let me think about this for a moment. I've leased 4 vehicles now.
Have you ever
And
bought a car or did your parents give you your only car you ever owned?
yeah, I've bought a car.
You bought a
Bought
car.
one at the end of the lease, actually.
What'd you buy?
The car that Cassie drives. It's a 2019 X3 SUV.
Got it. So you bought that one. Okay, go ahead.
At the end
Keep
of the
going.
lease. But yes, the main point here, though, Jake, is that I have thoroughly enjoyed leasing new vehicles, and I intend to continue. I recognize that if I were buying a new car and trading it in and buying a new one every 3 to 5 years, I struggle to imagine how I would come out ahead financially.
I
I
don't think
also
you would.
I don't think I would either. The reality for me is that my commute here, Jake, on a bad day takes me 5 minutes, right? 5 or 6 minutes on a bad day. So I'm not driving a lot. And for me, I really, Jake, this is the car that I'm driving now is the 4th vehicle that I've leased. And almost through all of those that I've owned, I've sort of told myself the story that at the end of the lease, I need to buy the vehicle or else I'm throwing the money away, paying for the lease, blah, blah, blah. But I recognize more recently that that is not the case. That if there's not a cash flow issue, I don't have to worry about maintenance. I know the vehicle has new and updated technology. I don't have to worry about safety and reliability. But again, I really think that conversation about leasing versus buying is something totally different than buying new or used.
Right, right. Good. Yeah, I agree. I get it. I think I came out ahead on my car financially compared to what you've done,
Sure.
but my maintenance costs are a lot more. I mean, they ding me hard when I go get my oil changed. It's always something. It's like brakes, tires, something's leaking. My
Yep.
car's not that old. And I don't
And
drive it
that's
that much. But
exactly. And that's
they
why I
always
think
get me.
it all comes down to what's important to us, right? You spend a lot more money playing golf than I do, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
But I
again,
still
it's
want a nice car. I want a nice, safe car. So I am gonna get a new one eventually. And you know what? I'll probably buy a new one again and I'll drive it 7 to 10 years is probably my plan.
perfect.
So, but again, I'm not opposed to leasing. Again, like you said, it all goes down to what you value and your financial plan. What can you cash flow? And for many of our clients and our audience, the used car is the way to go. And there's no judgment for that. Like again,
No.
you find a good, well-maintained used car, more power to you. I did that. I bought 2 used cars before I bought a new one. And you know what? Both those used cars were great for me. I just thought it was silly. I literally Corey bought like almost the exact same thing, just a new version. So I was like, well, why don't I buy something new so I can drive it even longer versus just keep buying a used one? So that was my theory. Again, there's no perfect way to do this. It's a very personal decision, but it's just something you want to weigh in and work with your financial plan on, obviously. So, all right, good. Let's go. We got time for one more, Corey. Let's do one more.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So, America's homes are piggy banks that few people can afford to raid. All right. So, you're talking about raiding your house, your home equity here. What do you got?
Yes. So basically in summary, the housing market in the United States has gone through significant changes. But the primary takeaway from this, Jake, is that basically a minority of mainly older homeowners are in the position to take advantage of the run up in prices because there is a record amount of equity, $35 trillion, $35 trillion, Jake, in equity that homeowners have, which is double the amount before the financial crisis in 2008. But what I thought was really fascinating about this is that there's basically, this article was arguing that there's sort of three distinct groups of people: those that are locked out of home ownership, those who are stuck in their current homes, and the minority who can cash out at high values. So again, I think this is talk. We all know that the housing market we know that homes have increased in value over the last several years. My takeaway from really reading this article, though, Jake, is that there's a lot of people that are sitting on a lot of equity that is an asset that they don't want to overlook in terms of their financial plan. And I also think that it's important for somebody who is not yet in the housing market, right? If somebody's renting, if they haven't bought a home, to recognize that, it really fits into your financial plan, and that if you are stretching beyond the point of comfort, that can cause a lot of stress. That is not necessarily something that you need to take on, but it's interesting to me. What are your thoughts about this, Jake?
Here's my issue. A lot of these
Yeah,
real
please.
estate agents and mortgage brokers will claim that a home is an investment. And I completely disagree with that notion. I don't think a house is an investment. Yes, it is a place where I have a lot of my money,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not buying a home to receive a target rate of return, because that would
Mm.
actually influence my decision way more, right? Like, if I was buying a home and treating it like I do a stock or a bond,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way I'd probably live in my house that I would live in, right? Like, I would, who knows where I'd even live? I might not even live in Kansas City, right? Because
Mm.
you know what I mean? So a
I do.
home is not an investment. I want our audience to understand that your home is not an investment and should not be treated as such. Where my point is, when we buy or sell a stock for a client, we're making an unemotional decision. I would argue a home is a very emotional decision, whether to buy or sell your home. This is where you live. This is where you sleep. You want to talk about a hierarchy of needs, Corey? This is a fundamental safety,
Yep.
warmth, water, protection, right? Very important piece. But you're right. I love the fact that many of our clients actually fall into that area where you said can tap their home equity because they've been in their home for 30 years. Home prices have skyrocketed over those 30 years, and now they're sitting on a fat load of cash. Here's the problem with it, though, Corey. If they're
Mm-hmm.
looking to downsize or tap that equity, they're going to have to go pay an elevated price for something else. So it's not necessarily a win-win on this, but there is opportunity for financial planning and tax planning. And so, again, I don't think a house is an investment, Corey, but I think for people that do have a significant amount of equity in their home, they need to plan with that, because you can make some really wise decisions and you can make some really dumb ones. And so you got to be careful with that. What do you
What
think?
would you tell somebody, Jake, that doesn't own a home yet, if they don't have any equity in a house? So what would you tell somebody who is in the group that is described as being locked out of home ownership?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for asking that. It's a very valid question. And again, I might be a little bit on my own on this one, Corey, but I'm a huge fan of renting. And I
Mm.
don't think people should rent because they think home prices are going to go down, because
Mm.
history has shown us that doesn't happen all that often. Yes, it can happen and it probably will happen at some point, but I think you should rent with the idea that you are saving in your retirement accounts. And if home ownership is something that is a goal of yours, then you are saving up an appropriate down payment or enough cash flow that you can afford that home that you want. I'm not a fan of buying these starter homes personally, Corey, because they're not always so easy to flip. And that starter home may drain your emergency savings, right? You don't know what you're getting yourself into. If you buy just a home, somebody tells you whatever
It's an
you can
investment.
afford, just yeah, whatever you can afford, just get
Yeah.
into it. Just buy it. If you can afford $200,000, $300,000 home, just get it. You need to start building equity. I hate that, because they don't realize that this starter home may need a new roof, may have a bad foundation, may have HVAC problems, may have plumbing problems, may have electrical problems, right? Stuff that you and I know about because we both have homes, right? And luckily, neither of us bought a starter home. Like, you've told me many times you could live in your house for the rest of your life. I don't think you will, but
It's my
you said
plan.
you said that you could, and that's great. You definitely don't own a starter home. You got a very nice house. You
Thank
certainly
you.
can raise a family in your house, right? So
We're doing
same
it.
with me. Same with me. I could have I could have a ton of kids in my house. I could have a ton of kids, or if Rachel were having her way, we'd have a ton of dogs or whatever, right? So both or whatever. So my point is, I think people that feel like they're locked out, I think they really need to look at their own personal financial situation and see what they can do to improve that. What can you work harder and make more money at your job? Right? Can you save more? Can you budget better? That's what you need to focus on. Don't blame the housing market. Don't blame the Fed. Don't blame interest rates. See what you can do to set yourself up better. And then let's go look for a home if that's something that you want to do. That's my take on it.
All right, that's good. No, I appreciate you sharing that. It is it's
Got a
something
little
that's
soapboxy.
fascinating.
I got a little soapboxy myself there, didn't I?
No, no, no,
I'm
no.
good at
I
that.
didn't think so. I didn't think so.
I'm
But
good at
it's
soapbox.
split, right? It's something that we have conversations with people about all the time. And I love that you made the comment, Jake, that it is a very personal decision. And I know, and you know, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to the show know as homeowners that it is not as simple as here's what I'm paying for a mortgage versus here's what I'm paying for a rent because of everything else that's involved.
Yes. Yes. You're 100% right on that one. That's good. That's good. All right, Corey, that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully, our brand new Shure mics enhanced our audio quality. If you want to please send Luke some feedback on the audio quality,
Hey,
email Luke at falconwealthadvisors.com, and Luke will make sure to relay that message to us. Also, if you have any show topics for Corey and I, we love talking all things financial planning and investments. Please also email them to Luke at falconwealthadvisors.com, and Luke will make sure that your question gets addressed here on Upticks. All right, Corey, you got anything else?
nope, I
All
don't.
right. Thank you for joining me as always, and thank you all for tuning in. We hope you have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.